Hi everybody, I'm Alan Rosen from Bananas at Large. On behalf of Korg, we're here at the store, and today we are talking with my good friend, Grammy Award-winning producer, drummer, singer, songwriter, Narada Michael Walden. How are you, my friend? It's great to see you.
Nice to be here, thank you.
So, I've known you now, I did some math, almost 21 years that we've been doing business, talking, being friends, community-minded. I have brought a lot of stuff over to Tarpan Studios.
Yes.
Most of it Korg.
Yes, it's true. We love Korg.
Why Korg?
Well, because it sounds beautiful. I mean, you could say it's a cliche like that, but it really does. And they get better and better and better over time. Like, for example, this new Kronos that we're going to be talking about. Why we love that so much? Because I suggest that it sounds very 3D.
Nice.
So that's a new thing, that you have this kind of this way sound. Not just this way, not just the normal things, but actually this way. You can hear in there. You can actually jump in the sound. Hello?
I'm drowning.
Yeah, right, exactly. Thank you.
So, I mean, your lineage, your production credentials, we can throw names out: Jeff Beck, Aretha Franklin, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, blah, 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 blah. You've done it all. You've seen it all. You've even gone off into stuff that I didn't know about. Robert Fripp, working with Jocko. It seems like you have covered every kind of music, every genre kind of player. When you made that transition from drummer to being a producer, songwriter for all of this stuff, how did you make that transition?
Very good question. It happens by just studying the people I'm working with. For example, I was very blessed. The first album I ever made was produced by Sir George Martin. So I just watched him. He was so calm about everything. But even to the point where I would say, I really love the phasing you do on Ringo's cymbals. He said, no, I'm over that. We've done that. But I want that. No, we've already done that, he would say. So I just learned his technique of how he would deal with things. Then my first solo album was produced by Tommy Dowd with myself. And he was fantastic. He brought in the session Sissy Houston, Whitney's mother, and then little baby Whitney was there. So all these, I'm just watching different producers. I met Aretha Martin. I watched him just by learning. And then Quincy Jones became my friend, of all things. And he says, you really should take more serious producing records because we need more helpers. And he looked at it like it was helping artists, and I kind of understood that too.
That's awesome. I'd never even thought of it in that sense. Yeah. Like, wow. So that just brought that roll around to, you saw the need and the want and the excitement of being on that side of the...
And I love making music.
Right.
And so if you're not on a stage, to be in a studio is always a heightening experience.
Nice.
And I will also have to add, from a spiritual standpoint, I was praying a lot, meditating a lot, to take that kind of energy from my Vision Orchestra and make pop records was stimulating.
Right.
Even though it's a pop record, you still got that in there, which I like achieving or trying to achieve. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's start with production then. How do these Korg tools? Maybe we can talk a little bit about the Kronos, or any of these other things that you've used over the years. How, in a production point of view, have they helped you?
Well, I think primarily I've been helped by Korg as a writer first, because the song's the star. And when I hear the sounds on these keyboards, the Korg keyboards, even going back to the M1 and the early Trident, all those things, they inspire me by the sound, or even a programmed, a combi can be something I can write off of.
Right.
Then that can go into the studio, and you want to work off of that for your baby.
Right. Yeah,
so
that's what I was going to say. And then my second part was, as a writer, how do these things...
That's how it happens.
Nice. So just digging in, not even looking at the manual, you just start poking around, and these things come out at you, and you go, this is cool.
Yes, and then also go on to, say, something that wasn't cut with the basic of a combi, but there's such beautiful sounds that you can always add a beautiful angel touch to something, or flutes, or even a cool organ or a cool Rhodes. So I just like the fact that there's such wonderful sounds to be used.
Nice.
Yeah.
So just a few minutes ago when we were talking off camera, you talked about this song that incorporates the Kronos specifically.
Yes, we have a new album called Thunder, and my new band, since I've been touring with Jeff Beck the last 2.5 years. I'm so grateful to Jeff that we have wonderful shows. And then coming home now, I put my own band together, and we've made our own album, Thunder. And there's a track on there called 40 Days, and I wrote it around the Kronos sounds, very deep, kind of strings and orchestral in a way, and it depicts Jesus in the desert for his 40 days of fasting and the temptations he went through before he had to really step up and begin his mission of, which would then lead him to his death. So it's kind of heavy in that respect.
Yeah.
And the Kronos nailed it. It just had that depth about it. So there again, I'm knocked out by what these machines, because they are machines, but they got soul.
Right.
They must have people in their programming these things that got big ass afros or something going on, because it's got soul, man. It's got real soul in there. Sorry.
What are, so if if we could sort of think about while you're playing it, what are some of your favorite things about the Kronos specifically? Is the pads is it the combis, is it the way all the different sound engines interact? What was
Yes,
the part
that's key. Thank you. I find it stimulating that you can have one keyboard that can interact and put all these sounds together. That's what's a lovely touch. And I come from the 70s, the 80s, 90s, so I can have those things at my fingertips is cool, as well as it be modern and huge. It's those both sides of the fence that I think makes this one of the best keyboards I've ever worked on.
Nice.
And in saying it's huge, that's another thing that we talked about, because when something can sound big, you don't have to do a lot of overdubs, which we may have come from a school of doing a lot of overdubs. Now you can go, pum, 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 and that can sound so big that you don't need to do a whole bunch more around it.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's also very, eye-opening.
Efficient.
Because
and time is and
3D.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
So you mentioned the new song, you mentioned the new album. People can log on to your website to read more.
Yes, and please give them all the information.
And the website is?
Well, NaradaMichaelWalden.com.
Excellent.
Narada spelled Narada. Michael, of course, and Walden. Walden.
Wonderful. So we want to really thank Korg for their support.
Yeah.
These guys went out of their way to support you, make sure you got the tools you got. I know that there's a continued relationship there for many, many years.
Yes.
And we support Tarpan and Narada, and it's amazing that you, after 21 years, we're still hanging out together as friends.
The very best.
This is awesome, and we want to thank everyone for watching, and thanks again to Korg.
Thank you. God bless everybody.